Looks like I've got this thing not oriented properly. Let me see what I can do about that. I don't think there's a thing I can do about that. I think I just did it wrong. Well, that's not very much fun. If I can frame that a little better. And then see if I can get this other computer happening. Doesn't seem to be happening. So much fun. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for... No. I got one person watching, and you're watching me be an old person try to figure out how to use my stuff. And I don't know why it's not letting me. Nope. Nope. I swear, y'all, I'm bad at stuff. Very bad at stuff. That can go away. I should just be able to do that, and then that. And then it should show up, and it's just not showing up. And I have no way to read the chat on my phone, especially in the wrong orientation. That's fantastic. Anyway, maybe I'll just play for a minute while people are coming in. And unfortunately, I got my phone set up weird, so I don't even know if y'all can hear me. Hear that? Doing this with my phone is like the most uncontrollable thing ever. I feel like I should put something under the phone, but that may further exacerbate the problem, but that's where the microphone is, so. Why is this not working still? This is crazy, y'all. I'm really bad at this internet stuff. Like, I'm really bad at this. I mean, if it's comedy, that ends up being okay, but dang. What is this? Got some highs, got some what the Fs. Yeah, it's going great. As long as you can hear, I guess that's the most important thing. Can I play the guitar? A little bit. A little bit. That's actually why I jumped on. I was going to tell everybody about recording this week. What's happening with that. If you can't play the guitar a little bit, then just quit. It's good advice from the depths of the internet. If you can't play the guitar, try practicing. Hard work will pay off. Good advice. Good advice. Have I ever done acid? I actually have not ever done acid. I don't recommend people do acid. I know artists who have done acid, and they said they've had good experiences, but I don't recommend it, even though I've never done it. Definitely don't recommend it. Ooh, there's a message being held for review. Let's look at that. It's a bunch of emojis. We can show that. That's fine. Just have a Grateful Dead vibe. Yeah, the long stringy hair and the beard certainly does not scream modern metal for sure or anything. I'm a little disheveled. I've just been working in the studio all day. So, yeah. Lucky I brushed my teeth today. I just kind of got up, got coffee, and got rolling. So how about y'all? I don't think I know you guys. Are you guys guitar players? Are you musicians? What, thanks for stopping by. What are you guys into? Used to play in a few bands in high school, but after one of my bandmates stole my drum set and bass, I just kind of called it quits. I literally listened to anything. Well, sorry about that. That's terrible. I've had instruments stolen from me before. That's a terrible, terrible predicament. If you're ever so inclined, man, playing music is one of the best things, even if it's just for your own personal meditation. Hey, Sam, what's going on? There's a familiar face. Miss you too, Sam. How you been doing? So anyway, rather than noodling, I guess I should get on with the updates and stuff. So thank you guys for hanging out for a little bit. Working is good. I still don't know why my other thing is not happening, which is probably why the stream started out so boring, as was kindly pointed out. So I'm not going to worry about that. Anyway, so what's been happening? Last week I was talking about a tune and working on my paddleboard rig. I was talking about a tune called Dragonflies. And that's not immediately coming up. That's going to be a part of the larger record drive that is the Forever Project. So that's good. I've got that fairly well dialed in. And while I've been doing that, immediately on the docket, I am tracking final guitars for the song Learning to Sleep. I think everything else is done. I may do a victory lap and see if there's any additional keyboards or anything else I want to throw on it after I'm done doing the final guitars on it before I get it ready to mix. While I was doing that, I got the second tune sent off, ready for drum tracking. That song is called Waiting, and that is in the very capable hands of Sean O'Rourke. And he's excited to get jumping in on that one, so I'll get you an update on that as soon as I know some progress. The plan is still to get Learning to Sleep released as a single probably in May. I think that's an achievable deadline. Waiting, I'm not sure. We'll see how things go with the first single, Learning to Sleep. But anyway, what's the point of talking? Well, I'm jumping on because I haven't done a lot with my social media for the last several years, so I'm trying to reinvigorate a bunch of that stuff. So trying to be consistent by at least streaming once a week until I can figure out regular content to put up on my YouTube channel. My website is linked down below if you want to check out the rest of my social media stuff. I think that's all on my YouTube channel too. And if you're here and you just came by to just check it out by chance, consider subscribing. And if you're into instrumental guitar stuff and rock guitar stuff and all sorts of tomfoolery, that's what I do. And you can check that stuff out. And I'll keep you posted on it. I promise you, if the last several years are any indication, I promise I will not overpost and wear out your scroll, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it is anymore. In any case, so as I've been working on stuff and I got Waiting ready to send off, my plan was to immediately jump into the final guitar tracking for Learning to Sleep. And it occurred to me that I probably, now that I have Waiting sent off, the next tune that I want to start wrapping up is a song called Live Free or Die. And it's been kicking around for a while. It needed a melody. Other than that, it was ready pretty much to be sent off for Sean to be writing drum parts and getting that recorded. But I know me, when I, as a session guy, I sure do prefer and appreciate having the melody to work off of, not just the harmony and the rhythm and the changes and all that, and the song structure. I like to have the whole thing with the melody and lyrics if it's a vocal tune, all of that stuff, so I can write parts that really serve all of that. So I'm trying to send that off to the best of my ability, all to Sean as well. So with that, I decided to take some time yesterday, and I've been picking at some melodies for that tune. I think I finally got it sussed out, and I was able to get that done yesterday, and I put together a reference mix this morning. Pretty happy about it. I think it's going to be, it's been a tune I wrote a while ago for another album project with another band, so I've just been waiting for a purpose for it. So I'm excited to finally have a place for it to go, and it's in context, and it's definitely an instrumental guitar thing that really suits me. I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm excited for you guys to hear that. But along the way, with working on that, I was just looking over all the list of the tunes that I've got available, and I think what initially started out to be a series of singles that I wanted to release, and there was 5, maybe 6 of them. As I've been kicking around, it looks like there may be closer to 7 of them. And they're all fairly thematically coherent to one another, so they kind of hang together, which still works in the single format, but I may be able to get to an album from here. So that may be the plan. Still going to release the first song, just separately from anything. We'll see how it goes, and from there, the next thing I'll do after that is waiting, and I guess what I'll do is I'll just keep releasing singles until I decide if it's going to be just a series of singles or if it's actually going to be a full album. I think time-wise it qualifies with 7 tracks. I think that puts it well over 35 minutes, maybe even closer to 40 minutes. I think an EP is anything under 30 minutes. Album is anything well over 30 minutes. I think I'm definitely beyond that, and that may make good sense. So I'm thinking about that. I don't know what you guys feel about it, if you would rather just get singles. The thing I'm thinking about is wanting to get back to the place of regular performing with my instrumental group, and having more material out to draw from and promoting makes a lot more sense. Although the last couple of shows I have done here in Atlanta, I did play some music from the Drive album, all of which has not been released yet. So those tunes may just remain in my live set for a while. These new tunes will be in my live set, because none of these have been performed except Waiting and Learning to Sleep. Those 2 I have performed one time. So they'll be probably regular in the upcoming live set. But I'm thinking it may make more sense to release a record to promote and start booking more aggressively shows. It is possible to do this stuff off of singles. I know other bands who are just focusing on singles and wrapping a tour up in the promotion of that whole single, which is not all that different from an album cycle. If you're on a label and you record a record, if there is a single to release, you're pushing that single, and while you have a whole album as part of the cycle, really most people before they come to a show nowadays have probably only heard the single. So it does make sense that you can do it that way as well. So I'm kind of teetering on which way I want to go with that. Some of it is just what is the artistic impetus of, I want art to be released and consumed this way, or I want it to be released this way, or what have you. Ain't none of us getting rich doing this, so we might as well hold on to some sort of creative and artistic interest with everything you do. Like, not only can be making the music the art, but how we release it into the world can also be, a good part of our artistic presentation, as it were, I guess is a way to think about it. So yeah, that's kind of the news. And yeah, so that's really all the news that's fit to print. Um, had some rescheduled lessons this week. If you're interested in guitar lessons, I offer them as well. You can go to my website. It's linked in the description. You can find out information about 30-minute lessons and 1-hour lessons. Australia's in the house. Good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, that's all there. What else has been happening? Been thinking about another art project, and I've been thinking about this art project for a long time, and I think I may be on the cusp of actually starting it. I've got some canvas and some older canvas that it's not got any decent art on it that I want to hang up, so I think I'm going to repaint it. And as I'm thinking about doing some painting and repainting, I had this idea years ago. Many, many years ago, probably going back to 2008, maybe even before that. When I started saving old strings from guitars, from things that I thought that were important, like recording the 205 record, recording Chasing the Grail, recording The Great Revival. Can't remember if I saved any strings from My Kung Fu Is Good. I did save some from Far From Sleep, as well as from Safe Word. I saved them from special shows. I have the strings that I had on my guitar when Steve Vai came and saw me to play. I have the strings from the Steve Vai after show that I did. I think I have the strings from it when I opened for Richie Kotzen. I think I saved some of the strings when I did the tour with Bumblefoot and Yngwie and Gary Hoey. I think I have some of the strings, if not all of the strings, from when I toured opening for Tony McAlpine. Anyway, the thinking was like, maybe I just hold on to them and they're just old strings that are rusting and corroding in a package marked with the date and what they were used on and what guitar I had them on. Whether it was a tour or a show or a recording or something like that. So I've got a bunch of these. And I had thought years ago it'd be cool to incorporate them into an actual piece of art, because I've got all of these used strings that I can't reuse in any way, shape, or form. I'm certainly not arrogant enough to try to sell them. I don't think they're artistically significant in that kind of way for music history or anything like that. I don't have any kids or won't have any grandkids, so they're not going to care about that kind of stuff. But if I incorporated them into an actual sort of mixed medium piece of art, I've been thinking about that. I think I have an idea. The first idea I had for it was going to be rather abstract. I won't bother you with how I was thinking about doing it. But I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like. I just kind of had a application that I wanted to put these strings into. Uh, I still like that idea, and I still may do that idea. I think I have enough old strings from all these years of touring and recording to maybe even do a couple of pieces of art. But this new one, I think I've got a pretty cool idea about it. We'll see. Like I may need to do some experimentation and do like a proof of concept piece, like a small proof of concept piece, just to see if it's even going to work the way that I think it's going to work, um, and then just go for it. Like you can't really break art, and it's fun to have something to do that's not quite so formalist. Not that I'm the most formalist musician, but I kind of am. I'm at least fairly conservative in a lot of ways when it comes to my writing style and my playing style. So it'd be nice to have an artistic outlet that can be purely tactile and emotional, sort of kinetic in a way where I'm not following a rule. The only rules are making the application of the thing work. That's kind of where I am with that. I think that'll be cool. I don't know. We have any artists in here? Holy cow, Sam! You turned 50. Goodness gracious, man. Well, happy belated birthday in the first place. Um, that's great. 50 is a big one. That's a momentous one. Congratulations, sir. You have arrived. I guess we're solidly into adulthood now. There's no turning back from it. Um, what else is happening? There's talk with the Black Sabbath tribute about stuff and things, about getting some booking happening. So hopefully I'll have some dates for you soon. You can come check out the Black Sabbath tribute band. God, my hair is like just crazy today. It's crazy hair. Um, yeah, so I'm excited to have that up and running. We've had a few rehearsals and the band sounds really good, and I'm having a blast playing these tunes and playing them on a couple of guitars that I haven't been playing much. One got a really cool 80s Gibson Explorer that has been looking for a gig for me to do. How's the music scene in Georgia? Been playing music since you and I were in high school. Yeah, man. Good to see you, man. Tom Martell in the house. The music scene in Georgia is is great, and it's not so great. It's kind of dynamic and fluid at the moment. A lot of things were changing even before COVID happened. A lot of blues clubs and smaller clubs, rock clubs, were they were closing up already. Just a change in the time. Um, it's unfortunate, but that happens. Clubs come and go. And then COVID really took a giant chunk out of anybody else who was trying to hang in there. Um, and since then, there are pockets of things that are doing great, but one of the reasons I'm actually doing the Black Sabbath tribute band is not a whole lot really happening in Atlanta in the original music scene, but tribute bands, corporate bands. My main gig is playing with a corporate band now, where we do a lot of like corporate events, high-end weddings and stuff like that. It's great. I love the work. It's a wonderful group of people, um, and it's paying my bills with a guitar in my hand. I'm never going to complain about that. Sure better than being a carpenter or a landscaper or any other warehouse job that I've taken to try to keep the bills paid. So yeah, like there's a lot of brilliant musicians here, a lot of really great musicians here. And depending on what style of music you're into, like there's a pretty strong um, sort of postmodern R&B thing going on here. That's always pretty dope. Um, I know a lot of people doing stuff like that. As a matter of fact, some friends of mine have a band called the Soulful Horns, and they're like a three-piece horn section. And brilliantly, they hire themselves out to other bands that need a horn section that don't have horn sections all the time. But then they also put together their own shows to where they perform their own music and they do arrangements of popular music as well. And it's all very in that soul, jazz, R&B kind of flavor. It's really hip. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that happening around Atlanta too. Um, the blues thing is kind of not what it used to be. It's still here. There will always be blues clubs and all of that stuff. Um, so that's here. The jazz scene here, there are wonderful jazz musicians here, and I know there are a few jazz jams, um, but only a couple of jazz clubs that really service that genre. Um, and for a big city, that's a little disappointing, especially considering the amount of jazz musicians we have who are incredible. But the rock band thing, like, there's still a handful of the usual clubs where us old dinosaurs go out and play raucous music, and stay out too late and don't do our homework kind of stuff, you know. So we're keeping it real here in the ATL as best we can. Instrumental work has been the bane of my existence, man. To be like at the core an instrumental composer, guitar player, whatever the hell I am, to be in a city that doesn't, I won't say it doesn't support it entirely, but I've had to find creative workarounds, whether it's doing jam band stuff, um, tying myself to blues clubs and playing maybe more blues rock than necessarily I do. Um, I'm sure anybody, Tom will tell you, growing up with me, like way more of a metal guy than a blues rock guy, but I'm kind of all that stuff, Cream on steroids, like literally roid rage kind of stuff. It's more the thing that I'm into. So yeah. So anyway, the Sabbath thing and talking about guitars, yeah, I've got this really cool '83 Gibson Explorer that it's got a really cool sound. It's got the original pickups in it. I know nobody liked the pickups on these when they came out, and I don't mind the sound of them, but they're a little squealy. I don't think they're well potted. So I either need to wax pot them or just I'm gonna call DiMarzio and get some of my favorites to slap in there. And then I also haven't seen me out with this one in a while. I have an Ibanez Flying V 6-string that I got when I was still touring with Stuck Mojo. And probably the one tour I'm probably known for having it on was the tour with Volbeat in Europe in 2008. That was a really extensive tour. We did a lot of really big venues. They were just starting their massive ascent at the time, and like I think we only did two theaters. Well, mostly. Let me take that back. I need to look over the tour itinerary. Like there were some small arenas, and then there were like one smaller venue in Paris. And I say smaller, still wasn't smaller. It was like a theater, small theater, and then the rest were like big, medium-sized theaters and halls and stuff, and then the mini arenas. It was a great tour. But I played that V, that era of Stuck Mojo, and because I kept that guitar in drop C tuning, he stayed there. I've broken him out on a handful of other gigs. I can't remember if I've used him with the Dreaded Marco, but the Dreaded Marco I would play in drop C as well. We're mainly D standard, but I do most stuff in drop C just to keep from tuning in between tunes. I know I sat in with a band called Stickman. I definitely played it there. I think that's it. I have not really been taking that guitar out a whole lot. It's definitely a rock and roll machine. A Flying V is, especially an Ibanez Flying V, it's even pointier than the pointiest of pointy things. Oh, you've never seen one? Well, let me see if I can rectify that real quick. I'm a little tethered here. Hang on just a second. It is this guy. And at the moment, I've got this guy just tuned to E flat standard for the Black Sabbath stuff. I think we're trying to split up the Sabbath thing. You know, Tony Iommi used a few different tunings along the way. The first couple records were in E standard. Then the tunings went way down to like, is that D flat standard, I think? So it's pretty far down there. And then there's some E flat standard stuff. So we just kind of democratized it. Anything in E standard is now in E flat. There are a few things. There are a few things I could do, like I'm trying to remember what tune it is. There's one tune that Sabbath recorded. They recorded it in they recorded it in the D flat tuning, but the actual tune is in the key of E. If I'm remembering that correctly. So we wanted to play that one in E flat as well, because later on, either Sabbath just played it in E or E flat, or I forget, something like that. But there's all kinds of stuff with that. So yeah, this is the V, and like considering the beating it took, which is pretty crazy. Like it's toured, it still has the plastic on a couple spots where I didn't peel the plastic off of the back plates. String through. I do like this. The input jack is on the top, angled in, so when you hook it through your strap, it's right there rather than down here or down here. I do like that. That keeps it tethered nicely when it's up around your shoulder. Can't really sit and play this guitar. That's another reason it kind of stayed in the case for a long time. But this is, I got this in 2007 or 2008. And like, what a great guitar. Like they only made these for maybe a year or two. There was this one and there was a white one. And had I thought better about it, I'd have grabbed a white one too. Because I'm definitely a Ibanez guitar nerd. I have several. But these play great and they have great tone. So one of the weird things I've noticed with Flying V's is I think the way that Gibson made them back in the day, they were set necks, so it was two pieces of like mahogany or what's the other word? Black Limba or something like that. Carina, they might have used for that. Yeah, string through is the bomb. It's actually, it's not a hot rail. This is, DiMarzio does this with some of their pickups. This one is the D Sonic. They also do this with, I think it's called the Crunch Lab. There's a couple other pickups that do that. It sounds cool. It sounds really cool. And like, not that I ever notice drop off when you're bending strings or anything like that, but I guess it's supposed to help mitigate some of that. And whatever frequencies this coil is responsible for picking up, it kind of does the business on that. But anyway, yeah, Gibson with the set neck and the two-piece Black Limba or mahogany or Carina or whatever the guitars were made out of, I think a lot of them are Carina, they have a really weird mid-range to them. Like a weird kind of, you know, like when a cat smells something funny, they make that bass. It kind of sounds like that. Some of them sound great. Some of them, they have this really weird honk. And my theory was there's something about the way that the neck pocket sat in with that seam, because there's just not enough wood here. And it's interesting because so much of the tone of a wood is this area behind the bridge. Even on solid body guitars, I really feel like that's an important part of it. But of course, with the way a V is designed, like You've way cut into how much wood you've got here. You have way less wood here for the neck pocket. And if it's a set-in neck, you're basically just reliant on the glue and the quality of the glue that's holding it all together. And like, they should be stable, but for tonal considerations, it's just different. It's just a different sound. Gibson SGs have their own sound as well, probably for a similar reason. The thin body of mahogany and the way the neck is set in there, I think it contributes to that. But this one, I am pretty sure that this is a neck through. I think this is all one piece of wood here, and then there's two pieces slapped on the side, and it is mahogany. And I think that neck through actually contributes to this guy having a pretty good, I don't know if that comes across just playing it. It kind of rings, for a mid-priced manufactured guitar with a polyurethane finish on it. Like it rings really well. It feels pretty resonant. I feel like it's really toneful. So I've been really happy with this guitar. Other than the sentimentality of playing it on one of my favorite tours that I ever got to do, it's a great guitar. But I will never get rid of this one. So it was going to remain in the world of drop C sharp or drop C, but it is now in E flat. So I can play all of these Sabbath jams that are appropriate. I know I should have an SG for the Sabbath thing, but since I don't, a V and an Explorer are probably two of my most metal looking guitars. I would love to play my Delaney Archangel, but I've got that tuned to just standard. It's a 7-string, so I can do the low stuff on it too. But it's got a floating bridge on it. So trying to alternate it between doing my standard tuning stuff and other tunings for this, it makes more sense. I just need to have more guitars. Like if I just had if I had 5 or 6 iterations, that's the word, iterations of all my favorite guitars, then I could have all of the tunings covered plus the main backups that I would potentially need. Oh, did the photography guy take off? Okay, well, I guess I bored him long enough. Yeah, guitar as acquisition syndrome is absolutely real. I think that's all the news is fits to print right now. Yeah, so learning to sleep, going to be finishing that and mixing that very soon. I think there's been talk of a couple other sessions. I need to get on a session for my friend Glenn Pridgeon. He sent me a song that he wrote a while ago, and I need to knock that out for him too. So that's on my docket of things I've got to get done here sooner than later. And that's an acoustic song, and when that's done, I'm sure we'll share that everywhere. I need to meet up with Brad Jetter. Brad Jetter and I, Jetter from Jetter Gear Pedals. I have a bunch of his pedals, actually. I'm a big fan, beyond him being a good friend of mine. I'm a big fan of the pedals that he makes. And my Vibe pedal needs a repair. I've got to get that over to him. And I also have the new, this thing. The Jettron. It's probably backwards, but this is like a high gain distortion pedal. It's really pretty cool. It definitely has its own thing, you know. It's kind of amp in a box, but also kind of not. Like this can turn a Fender amp into something far more aggressive than your typical Fender amp. So want to see where he is with this thing. I think he was saying that I love this pedal, but I think he changed something on the tone stack. So I want to get this over to him and get that mod. I think he said it's an improvement, and this thing sounds great as it is. So if it's even sweeter than that, hoorah! I'm excited. Yeah, beyond that, I guess at some point I should probably talk to you guys about the Tonex stuff. I finally got into Tonex business. I've been an HX Stomp user for a while, so I'm into modeling, and I use that a lot. I have other analog things that are amp replacement solutions, like the Tech 21 fly rig stuff. I've got the Richie Kotzen version of that. I've got some other analog things, but the Tonex stuff is pretty cool. I haven't tried to do any models of my own. I would really like to. Like, the one thing I can't do with the HX Stomp is there's no model of like my Splon quick rod fully loaded, which it's basically like a hot rodded Plexi plus two hot rodded JCM 800s. It's a very aggressive amplifier. It's lovely. I love it. The only thing I've really seen that's like it would be like the Friedman models inside of the HX Stomp in Line 6 and stuff, because that's kind of what Dave Friedman's up to with all of those BE amps that he's making as well. It's just his take on how to really overwind a hot rod of Marshall, which seems to be my flavor of choice. So yeah, I've just been typically dealing with that when I deal with a modeler, and when I record, I've got a UA aux to go direct into my recording software, and that's been a solution. I still like miking up cabinets. I think there is still something to that, like a little more control over the tone coming off of the cabinet. The problem with that is just the volume. Recording these high wattage amplifiers in small spaces is a loud endeavor, and it's frustrating because before, the place I was in before, I was spoiled because I was in a house, and I had no neighbors super close. So like, I think I did some testing with whatever sound baffling I had done. Like, you couldn't hear anything, 50 feet, 100 feet off of the house. So I could work pretty late if I needed to get things done, or start pretty early in the morning without bothering anybody. I miss those days. But the aux has definitely been a workaround. I'm happy with the tones I've been getting. So somewhere between that, I believe I can use the aux as a load for the amp, and then possibly start creating my own captures in Tonex, and see if I can actually get a good iteration of like what my amp is, and actually have that on my pedal board and as a fly rig kind of thing. Like, the idea of that is remarkable, and I know that's not exactly a new thing for people who've been using Kempers and stuff like that. For me, it's a revelation, because I didn't really think about getting into any of that stuff, but I may dip into it. This Tonex stuff is it's pretty remarkable. I am speaking guitar speak. Yada yada yada. Things with tone, thingamajig. Yeah. That. Hey, what are you gonna do? Well, like, it's the stuff that I know about. Other than cats, I know about cats. I know about coffee. I do know about coffee. I don't know about fashion or hair care products. As I said, like, I just look crazy today, which is awesome. Yes, you are a chick. But chicks know about guitars. Of course chicks know about guitars. Neely Brosh knows about guitars, right? Nita Strauss knows about guitars. Gretchen Menn knows about guitars. So many people. Muriel Anderson. Come on, there's so many incredible chick guitar players out there. Even to call them chick guitar players, female guitar players, like, they're out there. Coffee and cats, that's where it's at. That is where it's at. Like, when I'm not doing this, there's probably something involving coffee or something involving a cat, or cats, multiple cats. Yeah, so anyway, tonic stuff. I should probably talk about that. Like, I think about this. I was actually messaging briefly this morning with a friend of mine, a guitar player here in Atlanta named Lance Seymour. He's a great guitar player, and he used to do demonstration videos, and I did a handful of demonstration videos you can find on my channel. I did stuff for Orange amplifiers. I did stuff for Fuchs amplification. I did stuff for Jetter gear, for Jetter pedals and stuff. And I was going to be getting into it. And that was kind of like the early 20 teens that I started getting into that stuff, when a lot of guys were getting into doing that. And while I enjoyed it, I quickly noticed that the people who were doing other demonstration videos really had a gift for it that I don't think speaks to me. Like, I enjoyed watching their content more than creating my own in that way. I felt the same way when I worked at a music store. I'm in some ways a good salesperson because I'll be knowledgeable and helpful and thoughtful and try to bridge customer and object, product together in a thoughtful way, in a way that, like, I don't just want to sell somebody a guitar. I wanted to get them the right guitar that they would be happy with, that really spoke to them. Because, like, I know for me, when I go shopping for guitars, like, it's got to be a thing. And, there could be 3 of these hanging up on the wall, and I've got to find the one that speaks to me of those 3. So, pretty compassionate with other artists about that kind of stuff. So in the end, I didn't end up being a very good salesperson. While customers did like me, and I would get lots of phone calls and lots of foot traffic of people coming to ask me questions. Not a good enough salesperson to just do what the company needed me to do, to sell the merchandise that needed to be moved out in a timely fashion. There is a whole business to all of that stuff, and while I do understand it, I'm terrible at it. I'm really, really bad at that kind of business stuff. So I think that kind of plays into also the way I've had this hesitancy with being a guitar player doing a YouTube channel. Because I'm really more of a teacher and an artist, so I talk a lot and I play a lot. And really that's it. Coming up with good marketing style videos. I think there are so many guys who are great at it that they're fantastic players, and they're very knowledgeable, and they're very creative with the way they're putting this stuff together. Like, I just don't think that's a pool I need to jump into, but I do think I would be remiss if I don't talk about the stuff that I'm using. So I don't know, maybe even after this chat, 'cause I'm going to wrap it up here, but if there are things that you think would be interesting about how I could talk about equipment, whether it's equipment that I have, or even working out things with companies to get them on loan, to try them for you guys, to do them in a real world kind of way that makes sense for A, it actually shows off what the stuff does and what you can do with it, and B, makes sense for me to do it, because I'm sure you guys, if you're a guitar player and a chick who also likes coffee and cats, you may know a lot of guitar players on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook who are doing this kind of stuff. Like, it's very saturated, and the guys who have, and gals, that have very good followings on their social media platforms, they get advances on new product rollout, and then there'll be a new product roll where, like, they all drop videos on the same day. And that's a lot. Like, it takes me a while to catch up with all that stuff, because while I am absolutely guilty of wasting a ridiculous amount of time surfing YouTube videos, looking at guitar stuff and music stuff and cat stuff, that's just a lot to consume. That's a lot to sit and watch and just binge. The big difference is if I'm really thinking about buying a thing, then I'm crazy watching everything because I want to know every little nuance. And, some guys are very metal about stuff. And like, I don't want a middle of the road guy kind of doing a metal thing with whatever it is. I want a metal guy doing the thing. But I also need the versatility of the thing. So a metal guy trying to do a blues lick. Now I want to hear a guy who actually, is thoughtful about Gary Moore and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton and B.B. King and Albert King and, all of that stuff to see like where does it get in that realm of stuff too. So I'm very fussy, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't know how I service all of those things either. I'm really just kind of an artist is really what it is. And probably the gift of talking is not my best attribute, which may explain why the photography guy thought this was a very boring live stream. But to his credit, I will fall on my sword, again, like a very old person, started this stream not knowing how to turn it horizontally, so we have this vertical situation going on here, not knowing how to get the chat to pop up on my iPad. So I did waste a good few minutes when I started this endeavor today. And hopefully it didn't waste y'all's time. Hopefully you got something out of this today. If nothing else, you know a little bit more about at least what I've been doing at work this week. Yeah. Before I go, has anybody got any comments, questions? You can make fun of my hair if you need to. Somebody already said I had Grateful Dead vibes today, which, fair enough. Fair enough. I do look like I've been living under a outdoor thing or something. I don't know. It was worse when my beard was longer, but I've been trying to keep my beard shorter, and it grows so fast. It already looks like it's getting a little bushy. On top of this, whatever this hair don't is, now you know. Ta-da! Yeah, so cool. If everybody's cool, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because I'm supposed to say that. And there's a little bell thingy. If you're into ringing bells and dinging things, you can ding that bell and it'll tell you when I'm doing stuff like this, because I didn't even share this link around. I'll probably share it around after I sign off and put it up on other social media places so people can watch it in post. Yeah, my website, that link is in the bottom description thingy. Like, with all the YouTube channels I watch, you'd think I would have a spiel for the end of a video, but like, subscribe, check out my one link, which is just to my website, which has a link to Delaney Guitars. I have a signature guitar with them. You can go check that out. And tell them I sent you. You may buy a different guitar, but tell them I sent you, and they'll appreciate that. And Mike will send me kind wishes saying, hey man, we sold another guitar thanks to you. It wasn't your guitar, but it was a guitar nonetheless. So that's always fun. Lessons, all that stuff is available there. Yeah, please do. Send me all the Funny Cat stuff. You know I'm into it. I'm into it. If you're ever questioning, if you're up late one night and you're looking at Instagram or you're looking at Facebook or whatever it is, and you're like, this is some irreverent stuff, and it may or may not involve a cat, and you're like, who can I possibly send this to who would chuckle at this? I'm your Huckleberry. I need to laugh. I take everything way too seriously these days. So send me stuff, make me laugh. And yeah, it's like group therapy. We'll just send each other irreverent things like that. And we'll chuckle and we'll learn about cats, which is the whole reason we're on the internet in the first place, is to worship cats. That's the thing. All right, guys, this has been fun. I will, lessons. I was saying that about the website, lessons, guitar, history. You can stream all of my stuff. I think every record I have been on is available to stream on my website now, so you can check that out. If not, there are links to Spotify, Apple Music, probably other places. Probably a link bringing you right back to YouTube as well. There's a bunch of stuff here. Check out my channel. Look at the things. There's probably a video where a cat shows up. I know I did some promo videos where cats show up, and like, those are my most popular videos, is when a cat shows up. So maybe that's what I need to do. It works for Paul Gilbert. Paul Gilbert always has his cats. Like, I don't want to step on his thing, but I'm the cat guy. I've been a cat guy for so long. Like, I don't know, maybe I need to get a rabbit or a ferret or maybe a dog or something. A dog. I got very New England there for a second. Bring on the cats. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll be back next week with more updates. Hopefully, I'll have some really good progress on this Learning to Sleep song. I'm excited to share it with you guys. And I'll certainly be talking more about the singles versus album aspect. And Val, you could probably chime in on that. Either you got my number, call me, text me, shoot me an email. What do you think? Series of singles for a while, or couple singles, bam, hit everybody with an album. Just smack them, and then get this old dog back on the road, slinging some guitar hash for the people. I think that's what needs to happen. Just whatever makes that happen in, why are words escaping me? In a timely fashion. That's not the phrase that I was looking for, but it will do. All right, y'all. I will now awkwardly apply my finger to the X button that is in this corner right here. So I'm going to look like I don't know where I'm going, but it's right there. It's really right there. Thanks, E. It's great to see you too, man. We'll talk soon. Words is hard.